We're back. There's little doubt that Hillary Clinton plans to run for president in 2016, but some of the people who outmaneuvered the Clinton machine back in 2008 are voicing concerns, real or not, that Hillary's repeating the same mistakes she made back then. That's what they're saying. With 4 super PACs serving as a Hillary campaign in waiting, all run by Clinton loyalists, the focus on building the machine instead of the rationale for a Hillary presidency is dangerous, some say, and some Democrats are beginning to worry. President Obama's chief pollster, Joel Benenson, told BuzzFeed, quote, "I just don't see any strategic value in stories positioning her as inevitable or the preemptive nominee. And I don't think people who are out there talking about this help her. And I think she should make that clear." Well, Ed Rendell's the former governor of Pennsylvania and an MSNBC political analyst, and Joan Walsh is with Salon, also an MSNBC contributor. Governor, I don't know. I think there's very little that can hurt Hillary Clinton. I mean, these nuances about the machine before the message. What do you make of it? Is this a problem?
First of all, a lot of the Obama campaign hierarchy, including Jim Messina, is working for the Hillary PACs. That's number one.
With priorities, you would say.
Right, with priorities. And number two, they're trying to avoid the mistakes of the campaign of 08. The campaign of 08 didn't plan. It didn't get ready. They're trying to avoid those mistakes. Nobody thinks this is inevitable. Everybody's ready for a fight. And Hillary, if you recall, Chris, won the last half of the primaries because she became a fighter for the middle class. She's not going to lose that.
So, Joan Walsh, that's the question, I guess. I guess there were 2 critiques buried in this, I thought, somewhat hard to argue case that somehow Hillary can blow this by working too hard at the beginning. I always find that a hard conundrum, putting in too much money, getting too many people. 2, you get encrusted with the wrong people. The kind of people that come to you too early are not necessarily the people you want in your inner circle, crowding out people later on. And 2, it does crowd out. I've seen this with the Mo Udall campaign years ago. You couldn't get into headquarters because the big shots in there wanted nobody to come in. They wanted to run it. They ran it right into the ground. And 3rd, if you talk too much inevitability, you lose that magic that Hillary got when she ran for Senate, which is, I'm up here to listen. I'm up here to get to know you first. I'm not Bigfooting anybody. I'm coming in here to ask for your vote and ask for your thinking. Did she miss that with all this noise and excitement of fun? I hate talking about fundraising anyway. Your thoughts?
Well, right. I mean, I think to an extent this is a story about a group of campaign consultants and workers criticizing a bunch of other campaign consultants and workers. It's not really about Hillary, Chris, because she's really not in the middle of this. Yes, some people close to her are running some of these things. Some people aren't close to her at all, as Governor Rendell said. So there's a weird kind of inside baseball consultants criticizing consultants thing going on. However, I do think that you did put your finger on what the problem, the potential problem, I want to emphasize potential problem is, and that is an air of inevitability. There's also, real or imagined, a sense that she's got to tame that unruly nation of Clinton land, where she comes with a lot of people, with a lot of baggage, and the first thing she's got to do is put those people in their place and run a very orderly, disciplined campaign this time. She didn't do that so much last time, so that's a real concern. I don't think, I hope she's not taking it for granted. I see no signs that she's taking it for granted. And at the end of the day, or at the end of this process, there does have to be a candidate who's a fighter with an animating message for 2016 that's not backwards looking. That's her challenge. It's not about all of this.
The trouble is, a reasonable person would take it for granted at this point, because I can't think of anybody to beat her or get closer. President Obama's, by the way, his former national press secretary, Ben LaBault, told BuzzFeed in this article, quote, "The further out front the effort to elect Secretary Clinton is 3 years before Election Day, the greater the incentive is for the press, prospective opponents, and adversarial groups to scrutinize and attack her every move." Well, that's absolutely true. Even if it's a well-known candidate, sometimes, more so, activists, donors, and voters like to see candidates fighting for every vote. If they start to feel like their power and influence is diminished, it could have unforeseen consequences. Governor, I know this happens. Americans always root for the underdog. That's what we do. But there's no underdog here.
Well, that's right. When you look at the poll...
Who's running against Hillary Clinton?
That had Hillary Clinton 61 points ahead of the vice president, who's well-known and well-liked in Democratic circles. That's astonishing. But look, Hillary has to... I think Joan made a good point. She has to ignore this stuff. She has to gear up. She has to run a good campaign. And your suggestion is a great suggestion. Go back to that New York model. Do listening tours. Do listening tours in Iowa. Act as if, and not only act, but get feedback from the people all across the country. Those are the things that made her successful.
Would it be nice if you're looking at it right now? That's the Hillary Clinton I know, that woman there. Regular person, laughing, enjoying life, being a normal person.
How about her tweet?
I think she has to find places. Yeah, it was a pretty good tweet.
It was a great tweet.
Because it was a knock at Fox. But I thought, I wish she would, like a lot of candidates in the past, would find a way to get across the TV camera.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a hard thing. If Bill Clinton should do it, she hasn't been able to do it yet.
But she did in person in 2008. I was just telling you the story off camera about marching in the Pittsburgh and Scranton St. Patty's Day Parade.
Who advanced that?
But you would have thought she was a rock star.
Yeah.
And women were screaming for her, begging for her to come over and sign their books. That's the difference.
The hardest thing is to get through that TV screen to be the person people get to know. Anyway, thank you, Joan Walsh, as always. Thank you, Ed Rendell, Governor. We'll be right back after this.